Welcome to our video. I'm Marshall Shannon with Ministry Design Concepts. This is part 4 of our organizational checklist, Marketing and Miscellaneous. I put together a little slogan just to help us and remind us of the power of preparing and planning correctly. So proper preparation, planning, and processes prevent poor performance. Several things that I want to go over as we plan for and prepare for this video. If you want to make a comment or ask a question, you can pause this video, scroll down to the comment and question section, and type in your comment or question. Do not click submit until you're ready or finished with the video, because I have found that it starts the video back from the beginning, and if you're almost finished with it, that just takes more time to fast forward and get back to where you were. There are 4 videos in this series, and this is the 4th one. We look forward to your comments and any questions you've got, and to help us continue to improve. So feel free to download the PDF I've given you, where it's all 4 videos put into one document, and we did that so you can print it out, mark it off, see where things fit, and to hopefully help you better lead, manage, and serve your ministry. Well, the first thing that we want to look at, and I put these into 2 categories in this one video, marketing and miscellaneous items, for you to create a checklist for it and to help you better serve. The first one is publicity. When I think of publicity, I think of being community focused, of putting the word out through your town, your community, your area when you're talking about a ministry. I would encourage you to intentionally shift your focus to be externally focused. I read recently where Tom Rainer said that 95% of the programs in churches today in North America, 95% of them are designed to benefit the congregation, the members of the church. Only 5% were focused on the community. So let me say this at the front end of this. I look at publicity where you're going to focus what you're doing on the community and make the program, the project, the event, or the activity focused to reach and minister to your community, to go and propagate the gospel, to take Christ to them and introduce him to them and call them to faith in him. So as you look at this, then you have promotions, and I look at this as congregational focused. It's where you're giving that information by promotion by an email to them Sunday morning from your classes or your worship services, or you could use publications, and so you've got to decide how you're going to manage them. The printed page, handing them a brochure that talks about it, or an information packet as to what you're planning to do. And so when you're going to market something, you want to focus it on the community, and you've got to deal with your congregation and promote it with them. And you've got publications. You may have it on the website. You may send it out by email. You may use your social platform, social media platform, to get the word out. And then you may have pep talks. These ought to be motivational and organizational. You can do it with your whole congregation or your different services. If you have multi-sites or multi-services where you're going to give a motivational and organizational talk, you may do it with small groups as you recruit and enlist people to be a part of a particular ministry, that you're going to use pep talks. That's a part of your marketing to encourage people to invest themselves in that particular ministry. Now, promoting it, you need to decide what are the best ways for you to promote your ministries. What are the best ways for you to pronounce your ministries? You make pronouncements about it. You've got to answer the where, when, what, who, why, and how you're going to make those pronouncements. So as you begin to pull together, sharing your story, sharing what benefits the ministry is going to bring, what you hope to accomplish, giving them vision, helping them understand your mission and how it fits into your overall game plan, that you want to look at the platforms. What I mean by platforms are your social media platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, your website, a blog post. and all the other numerous ways that you can use it. Some guys are using Pinterest right now. And so as you look at your available social media options, how are you and what are you going to do to build your platform to market your ministry, both to announce it, pronounce it, promote it, both to be able to give updates and to share the benefits and the results and testimonials? How are you going to do that? Are you going to use the overhead and you filmed and taped them and edited it and put it up in front of your congregation? Are you going to put it on your website? Are you going to put it on your Facebook page for your church? Are you going to have them do live testimonials where they come up to the platform or stand to one side, but you're going to have them speak to groups of people or the individual services in your church? You've got to decide how you're going to do this. What is going to make up your social media platform? Now, let's talk about some miscellaneous things. Praise. Who will get the honor in your church? And who will get the blame? As leaders, we need to distribute or push or channel the honor to others for their hard work. Ministry is a team sport, but we need to take more of the blame. So we get less of the credit and more of the blame when things don't go well. Then you've got to talk about who you want to placate. By this I mean who you're going to please and who you're going to pacify. In small churches, often you have a matriarch and a patriarch, and they are the ones that have been there maybe the longest, had the greatest impact in a small church, and you've got to decide if you're going to please and pacify them, or if it's different than pleasing them, pleasing the Lord, as opposed to them. But you're going to have to placate people in your ministry, parents, patriarchs, so forth. Then let's talk about precision. What do you require of exactness of your people as they volunteer and serve? Because you can drive people away if you require perfection. What about proficiency? What levels of proficiency will you require? So precision and proficiency are two things that you have to manage, and they're kind of miscellaneous items that I didn't hit in the first three. Then let me go to procrastination. How will you treat those that repeatedly fail to do their duty? They put it off. They don't get their homework assignment done. They don't get prepared. They don't do the duty or the roles that they were to play or the jobs they were to do, whether it's bringing supplies or equipment or furniture or helping with setup, and they put it off, or writing or preparing a lesson. You really need to decide how you're going to deal with procrastination, and in particular procrastinators. And then proclivity. What I mean by this, what proclivity means, is a special skill sets. So have you determined if you need some special skill sets to do the ministries that you're looking at doing? And who would fill that? And what kind do you need? And how many do you need? And how strong does their proclivity need to be? And then progressives. We've all got people who are pushing for reform. They just live to make things better. And how are you going to handle them? How are you going to hold them off when you need to hold them off and use them when you need to use them to help you move your ministry forward? Then we all have pressures. So how are you going to handle the pressures of ministry? How are you going to help others to handle the pressures of ministry? Remember, those volunteers are working 50 and 60 hours a week, coming in and giving of their disposable time, and they need to know how to handle the pressure of getting ready on the spur of the moment, or to invest their Friday night or Saturday night or early Saturday morning to get ready to prepare that lesson, or to work with a certain group of people, or to carry out certain tasks. Then you've got to decide what's paramount. What ranks highest in your ministry? Well, for me, honoring God. 1 Corinthians 10:31. Whatsoever you eat or drink or whatsoever you do, do all to the glory of God. But you've got to clearly proclaim what is highest ranking, what is most important in your ministry. And then you've got to deal with passions. How are you going to channel people's passions? What if they come to you and you got a person who wants to start a ministry? They're all hot under the collar to get going. They're eager, they're energized, but no one else wants to do it. You have no place to put it. You have no money to give toward it. You have no personnel, and you don't know what people you're going to minister to. So how are you going to channel people's passions? Do you channel that person into another ministry where they can release their passion and go full steam ahead to help? How are you going to manage that? And what about not only those that are passionate, but those that are just passive? How will you handle the passive person who really seems to have no get up and go in them? And then let's talk about hard work. What will you require of those working in your ministry? With those participants as well. Perspiration, hard work. What are you going to require of them? How are you going to honor it, reward it, award it? How are you going to share and promote them? How are you going to deal with those that work hard, and how much hard work are you going to require? Then you're going to have provocations. How will you deal with those that incite others in a bad way? You ready to deal with them because they're going to come your way? What about paying help? How will you determine who to pay and not pay for their work? I spent a couple of hours one evening dealing with a church leadership team trying to decide who to pay, who was due monetary remuneration, which positions did you pay and keep volunteer and unpaid? Did you do it part-time, and how much did you pay? And you had several different people on the team bringing a different perspective and arguing their perspective and what they thought was right and wrong. Well, you've got to hammer these things out. It's better to do it before you're under pressure and under the gun than to try and do it when you're under a lot of pressure and now the issue has come up and you're trying to decide how to handle it. And then there's dealing with prestige. How will you manage those that have distinction, those that stand alone, that are overly gifted or highly gifted? And it's obvious that they've come in and they're prestigious. And how are you going to handle when they're distinct from everyone else? That can happen. What are you going to do with pride? How will you handle pride? Both kinds. The pride that is sinful, where it's thinking more highly of yourself than you want, and the pride where they take pride in your ministry and they take ownership and buy into it. How are you going to manage both of these? How are you going to help people who are caught in the bad kind and help produce more people who are buying into and taking ownership of your ministry? Don't you want that to happen? Well, I think you should. So as you look at these things, here's an area: populations, demographics, and psychographic studies. Also, I didn't put it on the screen, but ethnographics is who's attending what church, what kind of people are attending church, and what kind of people are attending what kind of churches. So demographics and psychographic studies are a part of your building your ministries. Now, everyone has preferences, but how are you going to manage them? Where a person says, well, I want my room bright red, or I want it my team colors, my favorite football team, pro team, or college team, or high school team. And how are you going to manage preferences about the ministry? They're there. What are you going to do with them? Decide ahead of time who decides about dealing with preferences. And then the practical. Don't forget to use your common sense. Be practical in your ministry. And then primacy. Remember to keep first things first. As we've gone over these areas and talked about all the different parts of managing in ministry design, as we've looked at dealing with your manpower and now marketing, what are you taking away from all this? Is this going to be helpful? We'd love to hear from you. Now, tell me about perfection. You say, well, perfection can be good unless you're a perfectionist and you've got to deal with that. But I'm talking about here about how will you consistently improve or perfect your ministries. in every area. How are you going to move them forward and make them better, stronger? And what do you say is perfect? So when we talk about perfecting a document, perfecting an activity, we're talking about improving it and making it better, making it without mistake, if you wish. And then procession. How will you keep your group moving forward, and here's key, together? Church and ministry is a team activity. It's a team sport. It's a team effort. How are you going to keep your group moving forward together? And then you have to deal with privileges. Who gets these and why? You don't just hand them out to anyone. I would use them as a reward or award system. So privileges. And then those things that are routine. How will you assign the routine duties? You better think through this, because some people are driven crazy by the same thing over and over again, and other kinds of people are just happy to do the same duty week in and week out, day in and day out, month in and month out. So you're going to have to assign them. You better think through those routine duties and who you give them to. Well, I'm Marshall Shannon, your Ministry Design Coach, Ministry Design Training and Concepts. You can reach me at this email address or either one of these phone numbers. We'll be happy to help you. And I trust that this has been a blessing to you and a help that has challenged you to fill this out. This is not comprehensive or exhaustive. I've tried to put as many things in here as I can and to hit on as many as I can. But sure enough, because ministry is a team sport, I've left something out. So please email me or write the comment, shoot it to me and say, Marshall, what about this? What about this? What about this? Why did you say it this way? And help me help you as we continue to help train pastors and ministry leaders. Thank you so much for listening.